What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 400 of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Where does the time go?
It's amazing. It's been more than 8 years, but 8.5 years that we've been doing this this little show at this
Goodness
point.
gracious.
And Carrie here as well.
In the wise words of Smash Mouth, the years start coming and they don't stop coming.
Yeah, I mean, when you guys did like the 10th anniversary podcast for TNP a few weeks back, like that reminded me, it's like, oh yeah, like this, we're coming up on that not too far in the future. Like we're closer to it than not to it. So
yeah,
it's 400 episodes. It's a lot of episodes, a lot of hours spent talking video games with you guys.
It's a lot of hours talking about politics and video games.
So we thank you guys, especially those of you that have been here since the early days of the pod. Here's to 400 more episodes of Dense Pixels. To celebrate, we're doing a standard show today.
we're not doing anything differently.
And to underscore the point where we're not doing anything differently after 400 episodes, Micah bought a video game against his own interests and has been playing it.
I bought a couple of you kept that up there. I thought you were gonna delete it. Well, let's talk about Back 4 Blood first.
Okay, this isn't the game that I'm referring to.
No. Back 4 Blood, I put them in order of importance.
Oh really? Interesting.
Yeah, at least to me.
Wow.
Okay.
Back 4 Blood is the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. And look, if you want Left 4 Dead, you'll get it in Back 4 Blood. There's a lot of similar things happening. They have this card system where, cards have like positive or negative effects. You can collect them, but same thing. You run around with 3 other people or bots if you're lonely like me, and you run around and you gather resources on the fly, and you do different runs to try and get to. I mean, it has a story, but like, who cares, right? Like, it's zombies. And if you were missing that, you'll get it. It's a very well made game. It feels smooth. I would imagine that it would be much better if you have friends to play with.
I have heard that it's not a very friendly game to solo players.
No, not at all. And I think none of your solo career carries over to your multiplayer career or something weird like that, which is very odd and disheartening. Because it's like, well, why do I even play one mode or the other, right? Like, but it's literally has the same types of zombies. They're just called something different. They have witches, they have boomers. It is what it is. So if you've been missing that, Back 4 Blood is fun, and it is available, at no additional cost if you have Game Pass, which is perfect, right? This is a perfect Game Pass game. This is a game that I would pick up for a minute, put down, but I don't have that commitment of, doling out that 60 to 70 bucks. It's just not a game for me. And I feel like it's a game that you need like a dedicated group of friends to play with to get the most out of. And I have dedicated groups of friends, just, like we don't have the same schedules, you know what I mean? So it's not for me, but if you're into that type of game, yeah, it's good. It's very good. Okay. All right. Look,
Here we go.
If you thought I wasn't getting this is your fault. Okay.
I thought you had learned your lesson after being, I don't want to say burned with the previous game in the franchise, but like, what this game is. at this point.
Yeah.
And like, I know that you have some level of enjoyment with these games, but you've also stated millions of times how games from this particular company need to do something to stand out for you because all of their games are kind of the same at this point.
Yeah. So
and yet here you are.
So like I said, I don't pre-order games anymore. So when the reviews all came out for this game and everyone's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Far Cry is back. It's back to being Far Cry 3 again.
Who said that?
What? Who said that? All the
said
reviews
that?
I saw were like, it's a Far Cry game.
No, people, no, look at the numbers, man. Look at the numbers. People, yeah, look at the numbers, man. People were giving this thing 8s and 9s, man. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go at it again, right? Like, because I was going to buy it when it was on sale, and then it started getting very good reviews.
Oh, IGN gave it an 8.
And
it's got a 75 on Metacritic, just so you know.
A 75 on Metacritic is pretty goddamn high. At least I think so.
It's fine. Like it's the minimum that I would expect any Far Cry game.
Well, that's
to aspire to.
That's it. It's the minimum of what you would expect a Far Cry game to be. It's it's all the trappings of a Far Cry game, which, you know, I don't mind, right? Like I'll sit and I'll put on like an hour-long YouTube video of some, you know, YouTuber giving a video essay on a movie, and I'll just sit there and play Far Cry. But it's Far Cry. And if you haven't bought it yet, but you want it, like just wait, which is probably what I should have done. Look,
it feels like Far Cry games at this point, with the type of stuff that you do in the game, are just a live service game with a finite amount of content, essentially. Like that's kind of
yeah, kind of. That's a very interesting way of putting it. And
I mean, I just know that
true.
Like I read the Polygon review, and Polygon doesn't assign number scores to their reviews anymore. They either recommend the game or they don't. And I just know that review, I'll bring it up. It specifically called it like a waste of potential, and like called out the fact that it doesn't actually say anything meaningful despite these like really over the top political themes that it just decides it's not going to actually say anything about.
The company notorious for not making political games made another political game.
Mm-hmm.
And
it puts a political theme on a tee, and it leaves it on the cover, and it puts it in on the trailers, and then it's like the little kid comes up with the wiffle bat, and instead of hitting the ball off of the tee, he swings and misses and falls around on his ass.
I mean, I think that would be so here's the thing, right? Like the political like machinations of this game are incredibly overt, right? To the point where this charismatic fascist, pseudo-fascist president who acts like a dictator has a saying to make Yara paradise again, and is calling out true Yarans from fake Yarans. And it's just like, okay, I mean, I get it. I got it the first 5 times, right? And you are a freedom fighter who is out to kill this person. You don't want to, right? Like you want to go to Miami, right? And live it up. But you get sucked in, and you join this revolution that you didn't really want to be a part of anyway, which makes for a kind of a piss poor character, right? Like your character should want to do this, otherwise why are you doing it?
Right.
And it just, and the character doesn't give off the, you know, the Viva la Revolution, right? Like she just gives off this air of like, all right, well, I said I was going to help, so I'm going to help. All right, well, you got a mission for me. I mean, all right, I'll do it. You know, and it's so the story, people are making a big deal about like this story being very mature and stuff. And I mean, it's like you said, they set it up and they take a swing, and I don't even think it's a big swing. They take it up, they set it up, they take a swing, they miss, and they're just like, all right, whatever. And then they leave. But the game is fun to play if you like that type of game, right? Like it's a first person open world game. It's fun. It's got guns out the ass, right? And each one of those guns plays a little differently, but it gets to the, and there's a lot of customization, right? But it gets to the point where if you can customize a gun to your liking, you don't really have to use any other guns. The menu system is weird. You can hold any gun. Let's say there's like 50 guns in the game. You can have all 50 of those guns in your inventory, but you can only carry 3. You can only swap between 2. One of them, you can only carry 4. One of them is a dedicated sidearm, so that locks you out of, keeping certain guns. You can carry 3 others, but you can only swap between 2 of them. And if you have a gun, and you can use any gun in your inventory, but you have to pause, select it, set it to one of the primary 4 slots before you can use it.
What I'm hearing is, oh no, you got an immersive sim in my first person shooter. Oh no, you got a first person shooter in my immersive sim.
Yeah, man. Like just let me carry a bunch of guns, man. Like if I can just carry all the guns, just let me carry all the guns, right? It's a video game. I don't need this to be hyper immersive, right? I got this immersive sim shooter that I can, deploy a wingsuit on command and just start flying, or, deploy a parachute 10 feet above the ground, right? Like if you're going to be Just Cause, just be Just Cause. It's very odd to me. The game is it's not worth the price of admission. Inevitably, when it goes on sale in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, get
not
it
even, not even. It's 5.
Right.
I think it's 4 weeks, or whenever Black Friday happens. You're 5 weeks away, but it's when it's on sale.
So yeah, if you really want it, please wait for a Black Friday sale. If you haven't, and if you haven't purchased it now, you probably are going to wait for a Black Friday sale. But yeah, just hold off on that. Don't be like me.
I have since we last spoke, I finally beaten Metroid Dread and 100%ed it too. I went back and got all the items because I figured that having all the energy tanks would help get past the final boss, which I kept getting to its last phase and then dying horribly when I feel like I was very close to the end of the fight. But it was, so I enjoyed Metroid Dread the more I played it. Micah, I have not heard you talk about Metroid Dread yet, so I'm curious about your thoughts.
You said it perfectly. I enjoyed it the more I played it. At first I was like, all right, this is cool and all, but you kind of gimped, right? Mm-hmm. Like, but it's a Metroid game, right? You expect that. So I kept playing, and I got the charge beam. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I started playing some more, and you just explore. And then I get to the second area, and I'm like, oh well, because the way my brain works, like I really want to do as much as I can in the first area before I go to the next area. And I know it's a Metroid game, you're going to be locked off from certain things, but like I felt like there were some areas that I could access that I didn't. So I went to the second area, I tried to get back and I couldn't. I was like, fuck, am I stuck? But it took me a minute to figure out what to do. And then I started getting powers. Mm-hmm. And I started to get I'm not very far. I just beat Kraid, right?
Okay, so you're still very early early in the game.
So I've been to the first 3 areas, and I just beat Kraid. I just got the charge gun that that the blast radius will hit through walls. Mm-hmm. That was the last major upgrade that I got. But I'm digging it now because I have mobility. I have the morph ball. I can get into, certain places that I couldn't before. I have the various suit, so I can explore the heated areas. And once you start accumulating your powers, the game gets really fun. So I'm very much looking forward to playing more of it. The problem is I don't have a lot of time, and I get most of my playing done while I'm at work. And that's not like I gotta make that hour count. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and I don't have a fancy schmancy OLED screen like
Let me tell you
somebody.
that I played that whole game in handheld mode, and
I would
the
too.
better port, so it was fantastic. And I got to tell you, so they pace out the boss encounters, going through the early part of the game. Once you get like sufficiently powered up as Samus, they are just throwing bosses at you like it's nobody's business. There's so many boss fights in this game, it's crazy, like it's insane. And again, the last boss fight is. I'm ashamed of how many times I died. I'm glad they don't have like a death counter like they do in like the past.
Now, are you ashamed, or like I've heard people complain that the game is hard? The game is very challenging, but when I die, it's because my reflexes aren't as fast, right?
Oh, no doubt. It was the game. I don't think the game cheated me. Like it really was. Most of the boss fights are like this, but especially the final fight. It's really just about learning the patterns and learning to be precise with your inputs and not playing like a fucking idiot. Like the problem with a lot of Metroid games, and you can get away with it in the early part of this game, but not too much. Even the early boss encounters still requires some level of precision in Metroid Dread. But in a lot of Metroid games earlier, you can just kind of spam missiles on bosses and just kind of stand your ground and still like beat them because if you have enough energy, because your missiles are super powerful. In the later boss fights in this one, no, like you have to. It's again, I think I mentioned it last week. It's like a Souls boss, like where you have to pick your spots, and then when the opening happens, you have to take advantage of it. Yeah. So. No, I didn't feel like it was unfair. I was just getting really frustrated because it was difficult. So
yeah. I had to figure out Kraid, and Kraid's not hard, but like his patterns are very easy, right? Mm-hmm. But it just he's just throwing shit at you, and I'm like, oh fuck, like So every time I died, it was my fault, so I didn't feel terrible about it. And the way the checkpoint system is. If you die in an Emmy area or at a boss area, you just respawn right there, as opposed to the last save point, which is really cool. You're 100% right about the Emmys. They don't induce dread. I guess they induce dread in the sense that it's like, ugh, I gotta run through this thing now. Like there are some like scary moments of those. Like there was a moment, and I've seen this moment happen to a few folks, where like how when you get the what is it, the Omega cannon or whatever it is, and you have to sit there, and so like to kill the Emmys, you have to use this weapon called the Omega cannon that basically when you use it, you hold down the L button and it switches to like an over the shoulder view, where you're kind of looking down a hallway, and the goal is you want the Emmy to come towards you while you like first fire cannon shots at it to like melt its protective shield away. And then you have to charge up a shot and hit it in the eye to kill it, basically. Well, if you happen to stand in a spot that has like a opening in the ceiling, like above you, and you're expecting the Emmy to come from down the hall, sometimes they just drop right in front of your fucking face and kill you while you're sitting there like over the shoulder, charging up, waiting for them to appear elsewhere. Like there was one where there was, I felt like a badass. I wish I'd recorded it, where there was one where I had already melted the face shield off and I was charging up like cannon shot. And so you're sitting there like holding like L, R, and Y, like while this thing powers up. And then the Emmy, like I was waiting for it to come down the hallway. It drops just right in front of me. And I was like, oh shit, I panicked and let the button go and still hit it like right in the face and killed it. So that was pretty fun. I love Samus's characterization in this. Like she doesn't say a word, but
she does later. She does later, but
she does.
Yeah, but she only has like I think 2 pieces of dialogue. Both of them are in Chozo. Like she's speaking Chozo in the game. So.
She's so fucking cool, man. Like she's so goddamn cool, yo. And it's just like Kraid is just like yelling and screaming in my face and shit. And she just charges up a hard cannon, just bam, shoots him right in the mouth. Like, all right, let's go. Let's fucking do this, man. All in wedge heels, by the way. Fucking amazing.
I also love Mr. Metroid.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Carrie, why are you subjecting yourself to
subjecting myself?
Well, they're not doing cross progression.
No, they're not.
From my understanding.
I'll play again from the beginning. You think I give a shit? I'll do it again.
So you're gonna play Monster Hunter Rise from the get-go on PC just because they're putting it on a PC.
Yep, because it looks and plays a lot smoother on PC than it does on Switch, which should not surprise anyone. So yeah, the Monster Hunter Rise PC demo dropped a few days ago, and it is the same demo that was available on the Switch when they were getting ready to release the game on the Switch. It's the same three hunts that you can choose from. You have a beginner hunt, which is Great Izuchi. You have an intermediate hunt, which is Mizutsune, and you have an advanced hunt, which is Magnamalo. You just choose a weapon, and you're sort of put in preset gear, and you go out and you do it. Yeah, look, it's the same. Monster Hunter is Monster Hunter. Looks great on Switch. It definitely still doesn't look as good as Monster Hunter World did, but I'm just glad it's going to be available to play on PC. Yeah, I would say if you have a PC and you've ever been on the fence about getting into Monster Hunter, just get the demo. It's literally free. Like, you can play it. I want to say there's like there is a limit, but it's like 30 hunts or something like that. And I feel like fighting the same 3 monsters 30 times, you'll probably decide if you like it or not. Monster Hunter Rise is by far the easiest game in the Monster Hunter franchise to start with. It's definitely the most forgiving for newbies. There is still, a learning curve. But if you're concerned about the controls or anything like that, there's also 2 like training sessions that you can do in the demo. So yep, I'm gonna play Monster Hunter Rise again from the beginning on PC. Yeah,
we're actually getting a reprieve this week in terms of new releases for a typical October. Nuclear Blaze comes out on PC. Inscription, which is not spelled correctly, is coming out on PC as well. Into the Pit comes out on Xbox and PC. Corpse Party comes to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Grotto comes to PC. Townscaper comes to mobile. Echo Generation comes to Xbox and PC. And the Dark Pictures anthology House of Ashes comes to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. They're still putting those out. Apparently, they're very popular.
Go to our Discord by going to densepixels.com/fans. I'm on there right now. Let's see what's going on. In the general discussion tab, Carrie is talking about changing her extra life plans. Brad is bragging about his 11-hour, 45-minute, and 8-second clear time.
Oh, I am not bragging about that clear time. To be clear, so the fucking game's been out for 2 weeks. I think the current speed run record is sitting at about 1:32 right now in Metroid Dread, which is nonsense.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Sequence breaking, man.
Yeah, that's one of the first things people figured out how to do in this game, was how to sequence break and get power-ups earlier and whatnot.
Jesus Christ. There's a lot going on at densepixels.com/fans, and you can interact with all the fine folks there and us, because I'm separating us from the fine folks, because we're not fine folks, we're folks. Go to youtube.com/densepixels and smash that like button, and smash that subscribe bell, and smash all notifications, and smash to see all of our beautiful faces after you smash. Subscribe to all of the TMP Studios podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, including the Nerdpocalypse podcast, Black on Black Cinema, Coming Distractions, and the weekly preview episode of Look Forward. And go to densepixels.com/premium for $5 a month or $50 for the full year. You get access to the premium slate of shows, including The Airing of Grievances, which is back. We just released The Wigmaster. Here's the thing, all right? Let me open the forbidden door, right? Here's the thing. We had done that back in July, and somebody just forgot to upload it. I was busy, bro. I was busy, dude. I was busy. We're all busy.
Certain J's.
Certain J's. Certain J's. So, but it is back. We're going to start recording those right before the Nerdpocalypse so that we will have them out in the time and manner. Or no, we will have them finished. When they get released, who the hell knows? You can also get access to No Time to Bleed, The Men with the Golden Tongues, which Brad and I have been doing our Metal Gear Solid series.
Speaking of forgetting to do things, that will be edited and posted later this week. So
there you go. Well, I think you get a little bit of a. I think you get a little bit of a pass because we did it earlier. We did it a week or two ago.
And I have to upload choice audio clips to the file as well. So
absolutely,
there's actual production and editing that goes into Men with the Golden Tongues. Absolutely.
Whereas the other one was done in July and somebody just forgot to do it. So.
You know what else we're gonna have to schedule for Men with the Golden Tongues?
Oh yeah, the review, the review of No Time to Die. Woo. Yep.
Still need to see that.
It can be spoiled for you, so don't.
Oh, it's already been spoiled.
Oh,
I ain't that impressed about it.
Okay. The Men with the Golden Tongues, upstage conversation, and the full episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. There's something new afoot when it comes to Look Forward. It's on video.
Yeah, it is right. On video.
If you just cannot get enough of Brad, you can see him on video at just search for Look Forward on YouTube.
And now with the privilege of paying us to see me on video.
Yeah, man. Like it's gonna be very interesting. Jay is super excited for this show to be on YouTube because the freaks come out at night on YouTube.
They do. And, we're really at all times of day on YouTube. Yeah, like there is no. It's always night somewhere, and the freaks
there's no
out,
reprieve from weirdos on YouTube.
So I can't wait to hear him complain about all the political dullards that are out there on YouTube, while Brad, Andy, and Jay deliver all the news that's fit to read. That's pixel.com/premium.
Carrie, you can tell us what is in this Animal Crossing content first while I build my anger towards the second part of the news.
So we had a 20-minute long Animal Crossing Direct this past Friday. There will be a free update and a paid update, and there's a lot of fucking content in both. So in the free update, both of these updates drop November 5th, by the way. So in the free update, first thing we talked about was Brewster is coming back. Our coffee pigeon is back. The roost is back. You can hang out with him. You can have a coffee with your villagers. You can even use the Animal Crossing amiibo cards to invite other villagers to come hang out with you at the roost. Other characters will be coming back to the game after being conspicuously absent so far. Those being Tortimer, the mayor turtle, Harriet, who's a poodle, Katrina, the fortune-telling cat, and Cap'n, who is a kappa. Cap'n will ferry a boat to different islands, and these islands will all have something little weird, little different about them, like weird plants or stuff that's in a different season than the one you are currently in, and stuff like that. These other characters will be coming to Harv's Island, which Harvey is upgrading his island into something actually useful, whereas it was previously just like a place you could use to like take photos of your villagers and stuff, and it felt weirdly porny at all times. It's like you would go in there and literally there's just like a camera set up and like one couch, and I'm like, this feels wrong. But now Harv is getting like a marketplace, so you can
and the character's name is Harvey also.
Yeah, he's got like a big mustache too. Yeah, it felt very explicitly pornographic.
I feel like that Nintendo has not been paying attention to the news cycle for the last 4 years, give or take. So
yeah. Yeah, Harv and his casting couch island. So Katrina and Harriet will be taking up residence on Harv's Island in the new marketplace. And that's really excited. And also Reese and Cyrus, who were the people who ran your sort of store in New Leaf, are also going to be more fully fledged characters other than just guest characters on Harv's Island, where you could like do a fun little side game and help them celebrate their anniversary. So they will.
You're not making this sound any less.
I know I'm not. So
you know.
Reese and Cyrus will they will allow you to customize items in ways that you are not able to customize because they are professionals and you are a peasant. Yeah, other merchants that otherwise just sort of come through maybe once a week on the island. Otherwise, like Kix and Red, those will also be available at the marketplace. Gyroids are coming back. Gyroids, which have been sort of like a sub mascot of the Animal Crossing series. Those little weird things that you dig up from the ground and they just make weird noises. Those are back, but you can now customize them and make them cute, and they'll sync up with music that you have playing in your room. So that's cute. They added farming and cooking. So getting like a taste of that Stardew Valley kind of life in there. You will now be able to grow at least 5 new crops, those being wheat, tomatoes, potatoes, sugarcane, and carrots. You've always been able to grow pumpkins in the game, which is something they introduced around this time last year. And then you could use the pumpkins to like make new DIY stuff that was seasonal decor and whatnot. But now you can actually make food, and yeah, that's cute. Also cute is you can stretch along with your villagers in the island plaza by using the Joy-Cons and using motion controls. Again, cute. Various other quality of life updates to the game, such as new ordinances. They more than doubled the storage. Storage has been at 2,400 stored items. Now you can expand that up to 5,000.
What is this, Destiny?
Items.
People are worried about vault space and Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Yes. The camera app has been updated. There are more exterior home options, new fencing, new hairstyles, new reactions. You can now have a total of 10 each on bridges and inclines on your island. You can now hang stuff from your ceiling. You can make an accent wall. Yeah, there's a lot. KK Slider's getting new songs. There's new items that you can redeem your Nook miles for. There's a storage shed, which you can place anywhere on the island to access your storage rather than just having to run all the way back to your house. There's the ABD, which is like your Bell ATM, so you can place that somewhere else so you don't have to run all the way back to the community center. Yeah, so that's just everything that's coming for free. And then there's a paid expansion called Happy Home Paradise, which is a premium DLC. It's going to cost $25. It is also launching on November 5th. So that allows you to work with the Happy Home Academy. So you get to see Lottie again, who's the main character who is in the Happy Home Designer sort of spin-off game. And that allows you to basically build vacation homes for villagers. So if you are someone who enjoyed Happy Home Designer, and I enjoyed Happy Home Designer, and you like to just like decorate the rooms and do that interior exterior design stuff to go along with the themes, that's really cool. You can also design restaurants and schools and other buildings, hospitals even.
Is this for real players to use your resort?
Yeah, so like you're building out this resort, and then these buildings like the schools and restaurants, what's nice is that the villagers will actually use them as intended once you've designed them and finished those buildings. And then these other various tools that you get, and like the design techniques that you can only get in the DLC, you can then bring that back to your home island and use that for like partition walls and fancy wallpaper and whatnot. So
can we charge these players to use our services?
There's no way that Tom Nook will not instead just rent your vacation homes out as timeshares to other players, essentially.
Right.
You will not see any of that money, however.
You're doing this for villagers, that as opposed to like other players. So like a villager, you know, like a cute little bunny rabbit would be like, I really like apples and I want my whole place to feel like apples. So like, you know, that's the sort of shit you get in Happy Home Designer. So this is Happy Home Paradise Premium DLC, $25. Now we can get into what is making Brad so upset, because while the DLC you can pay $25 separately on its own, you can also get it as part of the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pass, which they sort of stealth released the price point of in the middle of this presentation.
Yeah.
And it is $50 for the year for an individual plan, or $80 for a family plan.
It is rare.
Wait,
to see a bit.
The $50 is for the Animal Crossing and the expansion and the Switch Online, right? So it's 25 and 25.
No. So
Switch Online has been 20 for the year.
Yeah. So currently, if you have Switch Online, you are paying $20 for an individual membership for 1 year, or you are paying $35 for a family plan, and that gets you access to online play for Switch games, and it gets you access to the Super NES and the NES like virtual libraries that they have available. Okay. So for an extra $30 or a 250% increase over the current price for an individual plan, or for an extra $45, which is also a more than 100% increase on the, or sorry, 200% increase on the family plan, you have the privilege of getting access to the Animal Crossing DLC, the 9 Nintendo 64 titles that are going to be released, and presumably other ones that'll be released whenever that happens, and the, what is this, about a dozen or 13 Sega Genesis games that are coming out. And again, allegedly they'll release more. I would certainly hope, if they're charging this premium, that they will do it at a greater rate than they've been releasing NES and Super Nintendo games thus far. I have rarely seen an announcement met with such universal dislike from the gaming community as a whole, because this is some like fucking piss on my leg and tell me it's raining level Nintendo stuff here. Like this is insane to me, to charge this premium for such little gain. Now, I say that with the knowledge that the Animal Crossing DLC by itself is $25. And so if you think about it, for the first year, if you're going to buy the Animal Crossing DLC anyway, then for an extra $5, if you're getting the individual plan, you can get access to all these N64 games and Genesis games, which if you frame it in that regard, sure, it seems like a pretty good deal. However, you don't own the Animal Crossing DLC in this scenario. What's more is that if you get the Animal Crossing DLC through this premium pass, then you must be connected to the internet each time you go to play Animal Crossing, because it does an online check to verify that you're allowed to play the DLC, as opposed to just downloading it, which would just keep it on your system and you wouldn't have to worry about it at all.
Wow.
Yeah. The other thing is that if you cancel your expansion pass subscription, you will no longer have access to the expansion area. However, you will keep access to the new furniture items that you unlock through doing that. So if you buy it and unlock all this new furniture, you can keep all the furniture, but you are not allowed to go to the expansion area if you cancel your online subscription.
Yeah, this is I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't
either.
I don't know what level of goodwill, like Nintendo does have a certain amount of goodwill built up as a company. Like they just do. There's a lot of fans that ride or die with Nintendo like crazy and will not criticize them no matter what.
Well, but, I'm going to criticize a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to criticize them. I don't throw you in that. I don't throw you in that camp.
Like I'm going to get this.
That's insane to me. I will not subscribe to this premium tier on principle, especially because some of the best N64 games will never appear on this service. Like you can hope and pray for GoldenEye and for the WCW or WWF wrestling,
but licensing probably isn't going to allow that to
it's
happen.
Never going to happen. If their history with putting games on this service is any indication, the releases are going to be sporadic. Mm-hmm. And that's probably being generous. I can't tell you the last time that we got like a tentpole SNES game on the SNES Virtual Console, for example. Mm-hmm. And there's like layups, like ActRaiser, like the HD ActRaiser just came out. Like that's
right.
Why would you put ActRaiser on there? You know what I mean? Like why? Like things of that nature. So it is and to the bigger issue is that nowhere in this announcement is any talk of improving the online experience on the Switch, which in my estimation of the big three companies, Nintendo has by far the worst user experience for online that exists out there. And it's one thing if you're like, hey, we're going to add, better ways to interact with your friends, and we're going to add like achievements, and we're going to like if we're doing stuff to
I don't give a shit about achievements.
No, they don't care about achievements, and I'm okay with that. But if you're going to add enhancements to the service, then you can justify the price point. But you are literally asking players to pay $10 less than they are currently paying with Xbox and PlayStation
for a whole lot less.
Right. And you're giving them a whole lot less. I mean, for fuck's sake, like if you're going to do this, like you better be giving away Switch games for free, 2 Switch games for free every month. Like that would help justify the underlying costs.
Yeah.
So if you don't want the Happy Home Paradise expansion, you can't just get the like a prorated 12. No. What?
Yeah. So I don't love this. However, I am going to get it because I'm going to get the Animal Crossing expansion regardless. Mm-hmm. And 2, finding physical N64 first party titles and even a lot of these Genesis games is very expensive. And yes, I know emulators exist. But for a lot of people, either that's morally not an option. I play on emulators on a fairly regular basis, so it's whatever for me, but it is functionally a different experience to play an N64 game on your television with an actual game controller than it is to like play an emulated experience on your laptop with a mouse and keyboard. N64 games right now, I mean, the collector's market is bonkers. And for a lot of people, you know, this may be the easiest way, and despite the cost increase, the most cost-effective way to play some of these games, if emulators is for some reason not an option.
If that aspect of it is playing into their thinking, then fuck them for thinking that. It is not Nintendo's job to look at the secondary market and say, well, we're actually saving people money over buying separately. Like, it's their job to price things at a level that
I mean, I honestly don't understand why none of these games are available for you to just purchase through the eShop for $5 or $10 or whatever.
They'd probably make more money from it.
They probably make a ton of fucking money. So I am buying the Switch Online expansion pass for, you know, really two big reasons. One is what it comes with already makes it worth it to me for the upgrade between the Animal Crossing expansion and the N64 and Genesis games that come with it that I would want to play on Switch. But two, I am holding on to a hope that the fact that it's going to include the Animal Crossing expansion is setting a precedent for future major first-party DLC to also be included as part of that.
So here's my question to you then, and it's a rhetorical question. If that is going to be what you do, if you're going to set a precedent to include future first-party DLCs, which would help the value add of the service significantly, if that was the case, then why wouldn't you then do that for existing DLCs in your first party catalog, like with Smash Brothers, for example? I'm not saying you have to put like Fighter Pass 2 on there, because obviously you're still releasing content.
Like, I don't understand why Fighter Pass 1 would be part of that.
Like, who is still buying Fighter Pass 1?
Right.
For Smash Brothers. If you haven't bought it yet, who is still buying that first season of Smash Brothers Fighters at this point? Who's still buying Splatoon 2 DLC content?
Right, the Octo expansion could have easily been included in that. There's definitely, I don't know. I am hoping that this is creating that sort of precedence. Now, if we're back here in a year and they haven't released any additional titles of note for the N64 or Genesis lineups, because we know that they're putting Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Zelda Majora's Mask, Kirby 64, Mario Golf, Paper Mario, and F-Zero X on there in the future. And those are all obviously N64 titles. We don't know what Genesis games would be forthcoming. If outside of those 7 games that I just mentioned, there hasn't been anything of note, or there's always been rumors that, they're going to expand Switch Online stuff to include access to Game Boy titles or access to GameCube titles. If none of these assumed rumored expansions have happened by then I might just pay the hard price for the Animal Crossing DLC, assuming I'm still playing it. And who knows, because currently right now I haven't touched my fucking Animal Crossing island since February. So, you know, this huge content update next month may only get me through this coming February, for all we know. I may scale back down to the $20 tier.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of playing online. I mean, ultimately, is it a ton for the money for the $30 that you're paying? No, but you can still play online and have all the NES and SNES stuff for $20.
Well, and
this isn't a forced upgrade.
which is also weird, by the way. Like it, I know why they couldn't do it that way, because they would cause like a full scale revolt if they just jack the price tier up and didn't give people a choice in the matter. Mike, and to answer your question about the Animal Crossing DLC, I firmly believe that they planned on releasing it with just the N64 and Genesis content at $50. Realized that would be really bad, and just threw like the Animal Crossing DLC in there as just like a fucking like just something extra to sling in there to get the perceived value inflated.
Yeah, like,
I don't think there was a long-term plan behind that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I totally understand increasing it if you're going to provide more of a service, but you know, the value just doesn't seem like it's there for people unless they play Animal Crossing. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't mind doing it. I've thrown money at stuff before, right? We just talked about fucking Far Cry 6. That was a waste of money. But like, yeah, I would do it because I'm the type of person that like, oh yeah, I would want to play this, but I'm not one of those like hardcore retro gaming people. So I'm not going to take advantage of this. It's not going to get me to play Animal Crossing. Right? Maybe they were thinking that too. Maybe like, oh, you get this, you might as well buy Animal Crossing too. I just don't understand the logic in the rollout of this. But
well, and again, the fact that, like Carrie said, they snuck it in stealthily in the middle of the Animal Crossing DLC presentation tells you everything you need to know. If they were operating in good faith, they would have announced the price when they announced the N64 and Genesis games during the Nintendo Direct a couple of weeks ago. They knew that this was going to go over like a shit sandwich, and so they served it to us in the most low key manner that were possible. And to their credit, because if they had announced this price during the first Direct, that's all people would have been.
That's all people would have talked about
instead of Bayonetta 3 and all the other stuff that got announced.
Good marketing brain from Nintendo on this. Yeah. But yeah, so, I think this is, for a lot of people, I'm sure this is going to be a wait and see. If they're not into Animal Crossing, then there's really not a ton in here for them. Yeah. But the way that I sort of math it out is like, all right, well, I'm paying $25 for the Animal Crossing DLC, which I was going to pay anyway. And then an extra $10 allows me to play all these N64 and Genesis games for the next year.
So moving on from there, I consider myself a pretty keyed in guy in terms of like the comings and goings, especially in the technology space in this day and age. One thing that I could not explain to you if you held a gun to my head is non-fungible tokens.
Thank you. I don't know I don't know what the fuck that thing is, man. I really don't. And I like, even wrestling, I was like, hey, get a John Cena NFT. I'm like, what the fuck is an NFT, yo? Please explain it to me.
Carrie. I honestly think this Kotaku article does a good job of explaining it in as close to layman's terms as we can get. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, are digital assets that represent ownership, and big air quotes on ownership, of specific image files. And this ownership is recorded in an electronic ledger called a blockchain. So this is a crypto blockchain sort of deal where basically people are making money selling JPEGs. And it goes on, and this is all accurate. The NFT scene is famous for scammers who will bail after the money is paid in. And there are multiple cryptocurrency projects in which the developers just expect investors to trust them on a spit handshake. By the way, and Kotaku always hits this hard, NFTs and crypto in general are environmental disasters, but as long as a high-profile NFT can command sales prices of millions of dollars, crypto bros will continue to peddle the shit out of them. NFTs are basically giant money laundering schemes that set a rainforest on fire every time someone trades one. Like,
yeah, because that goes into what we've talked about here before, is as we've talked about how like to a more cloud-based gaming future is actually really bad for carbon emissions.
Mhm.
Like it's amazingly bad for carbon emissions. And I know enough about blockchain to know that that is the same way, because since everything is being run through servers constantly all the time,
Yeah.
then that's where, you know, you could run into issues with increasing carbon footprints and stuff like that. If the firm that holds your ownership record even like exists after a certain period of time, is
Right.
another
Like,
reason
again,
to be scared about it. So
it's mostly people making a lot of fucking money and making off with it and being like, here's a JPEG of a dog shitting in a diaper, and like and like that person just paid $8,000 for that. It's all a scam. It's all a scam. I cannot stress this enough. NFTs are such a fucking scam. And every time it was like, oh, China outlawed crypto, and I was like, good. Why hasn't everyone else done that yet? It's a fucking giant money laundering scheme.
So how does this roll back to video games, you may ask? Well, Valve has decided to ban video games that feature crypto and NFTs from Steam. I was not aware that there were video games that had NFTs and cryptocurrency tie-ins.
Yeah. This the formal ban wasn't completely unprecedented. A few weeks ago at the end of September, NFT-based game dev Satoshi's Games announced that Valve would not allow its NFT game Light Night to be released on Steam. No explanation was given until today, when the devs behind Age of Rust, another NFT game, we're going to end up in an Age of Rust if NFTs keep lighting the planet on fire. When those devs explained that Steam does not allow games that, quote, have real world value to exist on the platform. Light Night is a game in which players can earn NFTs by playing the game, which they can then sell in a Bitcoin marketplace. Similarly, Age of Rust has a mechanic in which players can use NFTs to unlock certain kinds of in-game rewards. Since both of these games allow players to redeem digital assets for real-world value, they would be running afoul of Steam's new stance against such features. I would like to formally apologize because I have long made fun of people who spend money on gacha games. Because I've always just said you're spending money on JPEGs, and I would like to apologize to them because clearly there are far worse things that people can do with their fucking JPEGs.
Oh man,
then
keep it tuned here for when we get to talk about FIFA 23 next year that allows you to purchase FIFA points with NFTs. That'll be fantastic. Link your Bitcoin account to FIFA so that you can buy
like the amount of artists that I've seen get into NFT bullshit really just shows to me that this whole, you know, lighting the planet on fire for money thing is not limited to big corporations, that individuals, if they can make money, will absolutely light a rainforest on fire to get it. Like, I'm so tired of this, man.
I feel like my dad. So if I draw a picture and scan it and save it as a JPEG,
you can essentially sell the ownership rights of that picture, that image.
Hold on, how many files do I have in my pictures folder right now?
Now how you do that, I don't know. Like, again, I don't understand the whole blockchain part of it. Like, do you have to go to like a blockchain bank and get like a digital certificate of authenticity or something?
I don't know. I've got hundreds of JPEGs that are stored in my computer, and all I had to do was right click and save, and I didn't have to pay anyone any money, and I can enjoy that image.
Well, but you don't own it. But you don't own it, Carrie. You don't.
I own it just as well as any of these dumb fucks spending money on NFTs own it.
Is this like drawing a picture and then selling it for a Chuck E. Cheese token?
Yeah.
And then going to
it's basically you decided that you were going to draw a picture, and rather than like give someone the actual physical picture, you give someone a Chuck E. Cheese token that says that they own the picture. And then when you gave that person that token, you also release an incredible amount of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And then they gave you $1,000.
When you eat Chuck E. Cheese pizza, you then run the risk of releasing a tremendous amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere anyway.
When you eat the Chuck E. Cheese pizza that's like reconstructed from several other older pizzas, you're definitely running the risk of large greenhouse gas emissions.
Oh man. You see young people. Chuck E. Cheese was a. Do you know the game Five Nights at Freddy's? Imagine that.
Chuck E. Cheese around.
Oh, okay, all right, good. I didn't know.
Kind of like there's very few. I'm pretty sure the company's like gone through several bankruptcy restructures at this point. But
why anyone would go to any food establishment where their mascot is a rat? I don't know.
Come on down to Charles Entertainment Cheese's Rat Pizza and Child Casino.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I mean, that's
it's a shame it's the 400th episode because I feel like Rat Pizza and Child's Casino is a pretty good episode title. A brief bit of news about Elden Ring. The game.
Oh
was
no,
delayed.
hold on.
Sorry.
We're not done with the NFT bullshit yet. Because while Steam was like, we're not doing NFTs, Epic was like, we'll do it.
Yo, come on, man.
I thought Epic was not doing it as well.
Epic CEO Tim Sweeney told The Verge that although there may be some limitations, it is open to working with devs who want to use blockchain technology, NFTs, and crypto in games that would appear on its digital storefront.
Okay.
Tim Sweeney specifically tweeted that we will welcome games that make use of blockchain tech, provided they follow the relevant laws, disclose their terms, and are age-rated by an appropriate group. Though we are not using crypto in our games, we welcome innovation in the areas of technology and finance. You're welcoming scams.
Yeah, come on.
That's what you're welcoming. You're welcoming scams and environmental destruction.
I mean, I don't use guns. I don't use guns, but I welcome people who love guns to come into my club and just shoot up the place.
Yeah.
I don't use them, but all right, all right. Shut up, dude. Yeah, but feel sympathy for them versus Apple. All right, get out of here.
As I was mentioning, Elden Ring delayed a month, but they are now putting out a closed network test on console. In mid-November. You have to register before November 1st to get a chance to check out Elden Ring before the game releases. This is now coming out the same day as the Destiny Witch Queen expansion, which is causing a lot of Destiny players a lot of angst because they don't know what they want to play first. Which is
that meme with a guy who doesn't know what button to press.
Yeah, it's literally that. It's not the ironic version of it. Like they don't know what to do. On look forward, we have a running segment called This Week in Stupid, where we point out the stupidest thing that happens in politics and laugh about it at the end of the episode. I almost feel like with the amount of stories that we see like this in the games industry, that we could have a This Week in Hubris feature on this podcast because in Hubris, a couple months ago, we talked about phone skin manufacturer Dbrand was coming out with some PlayStation 5 plates called Dark Plates. And I remember we went on their website and they had all this marketing on the website where they were basically giving Sony the middle finger and being like, fucking A, like this, like Sony can't stop us from doing this. And this is definitely going to be fine. And it's totally cool. And this is great. And they even challenged Sony to go ahead and sue us.
Yeah, literally their website said, go ahead, sue us.
Yeah, go ahead and sue us. And in a stunning reversal of fortune for Dbrand, they have decided to not release the dark plates because Sony said, all right, bet. and went
Yeah,
ahead
you
and
know.
sent- and went ahead and sent them a cease and desist. And they were like, "I like we didn't think you'd do it though, but
Like, why
we're
would
gonna-"
they?
Yeah, all right. Keep on getting. What do you say, Carrie, about games and prizes? All right, man.
It's, you play a bitch game, and as
Yo,
is
you
so
keep-
often at the Rat Pizza and Child Casino, you win bitch prizes. So
you do that shit all you want, man. Think a company won't come after you?
right.
They are trying to put a positive spin on this by saying that they're agreeing to the takedown, quote, for now. They and a quote they put on their website as well. You know what they say, you either die a Dark Plates owner or you live long enough to see yourself become the scalper. That's somewhat funny a little bit because they know people are gonna be scalping these like crazy.
Yeah.
Since they're not available now. And they said, fuck you, and especially fuck Sony. Talk soon. Was their
You're
response
making
there.
a product for a Sony console and you're going to say fuck Sony. Dude, shut the
Yeah, you're trying to make money. All right, yo. All right. Okay.
I mean, they're not making an officially licensed product for a Sony
No,
console.
but at the
so
same time, like if it's close enough, right? Like I don't know. I'm not a patent lawyer. But yeah, that's funny to me.
because it is
is.
legitimately funny.
Yeah, I'm just I am amused. I am amused. You know what's no, I'm not good at this. Go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all your Amazon purchases. When you do that, you help Jeff Bezos send what is after octogenarian? Octogenarian is 80 to 89.
Isn't it
William
like
Shatner.
Nunogenarian or something like that?
When you go to densepixels.com/Amazon, you help Jeff Bezos send
nonagenarian.
nonagenarians to space to boldly go where no one has gone.
Wait,
before.
William Shatner's in his 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
yeah. He don't look it, does he?
No.
That's what money
Credit-
does,
He is
man.
Credit
90
to him.
exactly.
Wow, I had
Yeah.
no idea. I'm serious. Like I thought that dude was in his like 70s.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
feel like he's looked that way for the last 20 years.
I mean, if I stop to think about it logically, like Star Trek was like 60 years ago. So like
Yeah.
I should have done the math a little bit better. Like William Shatner wasn't 10 when he played Captain Kirk, but it just didn't, connect in my head that he was that old.
Yeah, it's just
No,
one of those.
Star
he's
Trek,
one of
the
those
original
dudes-
series, ran from 66 to 69.
Yeah.
He's one of those dudes that's just like perpetually there, right? Like,
Mhm.
and he's all like you said, he's always looked like that for 20 years. He's looked like he's been hawking Mike Slocum law firm commercials for 20 years.
Well, it
Well,
also
yeah.
helps that he like sounds the same. He sounded the same.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
he doesn't sound like, like Clint Eastwood now. You know what I mean? But yeah, Jeff Bezos is sending nonagenarians up to space, and you can help him send more when you go to densepixels.com/Amazon. Oh yeah, and you help the show out too. But like,
Yeah.
let's send old people that want to go. Let's send old people that want to go into space. I'm not saying get rid of our elderly. I'm not saying that at all.
I'm sort of saying that.
Leonardo asked a question right after we finished recording last week. Then it's just post office. He said, "What's the difference between shaken or stirred? Also, are the Bond novels worth reading?" So, to answer the first question, when it comes to drinking martinis, James Bond actually gets his martini counter to what most martini drinkers do, because when you shake a drink in a shaker, what you're basically doing is you're doing something called bleeding the ice, which makes the drink cold because you're shaking it with ice and the ice is transferring. But you're also watering down the martini faster because you literally get water melting off the ice because of the friction that you're causing, which you're not supposed to do with a martini. You're supposed to, not let it melt down. You're actually, the preferred way to drink a martini is stirred. So it's actually a misnomer that James Bond orders them that way, ruining martini drinking for the last 60 years. Are the Bond novels worth reading? Some of them are. Some of the Bond novels are very good. Casino Royale is very good. Moonraker, shockingly, the novel is very good. The entire Spectre trilogy, From Russia with Love, Spy Who Loved Me, pretty solid as well. They're very old when you read them, and it's apparent that they are old, just from how the writing is. Also, Ian Fleming, massive racist. Something to keep in mind, because that definitely bleeds through into his writing. But yes, there are definitely some Bond novels that are worth reading. I would not read all of the James Bond novels. But like I said, definitely Casino Royale, definitely Moonraker, and the From Russia with Love and the Spectre trilogy are probably the best ones to check out. So
it as with a lot of books from a long time ago, yeah, worth reading. But you have to keep in mind the time period in which they were written, yes, and the person who was doing the writing.
Yes.
I do still think they can be enjoyable, but there's definitely some stuff where you're reading and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, Live and Let Die is a difficult book to read in 2021. It's really difficult to read just because of some of the terms and words he uses to characterize, especially Black characters in that book. And Black characters that he likes, by the way. Like, these are like James Bond's friends. And
yeah, like
he's a lot of
like Ian Fleming like loves Jamaica, yo. Like, yeah, what in the world? Like
he fucking lived there. like the dude lived there when he retired from the military. He's like, I'm gonna literally move to Jamaica and live in the house that you see James Bond living in No Time to Die.
Yeah.
So and this is how he thinks about his neighbors.
Right. So. He's just like, man, I love these niggas know how to cook. Like, yo, calm down, yo. Like, chill out, man.
Trey asks, now that the PS2 era Grand Theft Auto remasters have been announced, will Rockstar remaster Bully next, since it is the other most mentioned game in their catalog? I don't think so, honestly. Like, I think Bully gets a lot of talk from a niche section of their fan base. I don't think a Bully remaster would be a bona fide, like, Letlock seller like the GTA.
I think you're right.
Yep.
I feel like
it's any money from it.
I feel like it's within the realm of possibility. I'm not going to say definitely not, but I feel like the people who liked Bully really liked Bully. And I feel like, you know, it's been a generation or two since that game first released. Maybe a remaster would actually do well, but because it doesn't have the name Grand Theft Auto on it, they may not be willing to spend the time or money or effort to do so.
Ejax says, my close friend is wanting to get into video games, but I don't know what to show her. What are some good introductory games or games for 2 players that are fun?
There's a lot of really fun multiplayer games out there. I haven't played it myself yet. I keep hearing great things about the game It Takes Two, which is a cooperative game. Stardew Co-op is really fun, really chill, really low key. Honestly, some of the like Mario titles that allow co-op, like New Super Mario Brothers U, I think is a great one, a good easy side-scrolling platformer that you can play together.
When my wife was trying to, you know, see what it is I see in video games, she was like, hey, let's, you know, show me a game. What game should we play? We played, she had a good time playing Mario Kart, and she had a good time playing Everybody's Golf. So there you go. Those are my recommendations.
And I'll also say, surprisingly, Diablo 3 is not a bad game to onboard to, because the game definitely eases you along in that beginning phase in terms of giving you things that you can do. It kind of ramps the complexity up as you go along, but the first 5 to 6 hours are actually quite manageable in Diablo. And because you can kick the difficulty level down so early in that game, it can be very beginner friendly. So one of the underrated aspects about it, if you're down with the theme.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I would ask your friend what kind of stories do they like watching on television or in movies, and try and find a game within that genre as well. Because if they're like, oh, I love I love high fantasy stuff. I love Lord of the Rings and, Game of Thrones and whatnot. I might even suggest Skyrim in that case, because you can crank the difficulty all the way down on that and just be a god from the get-go. And that's a huge open world game that you can just sort of explore and get that RPG experience and stuff like that, Or if they like sci-fi, maybe you have them play No Man's Sky and just send them to space for a few hours.
Only if they're a nonagenarian or whatever.
Gerard says, honestly, I have no idea what's going on here 3/4 of the time, but I enjoy the hell out of y'all's commentary. It feels good to be in the know and contribute to a random game-related conversation like I know what the hell is going on. Keep up the great work. As always, everyone, I appreciate what you do. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
The nicest person I've ever seen online. But I think he's a bot. Because but like a bot, programmed it the opposite way. You know what I mean? Like to be nice and not like disseminate poorly thought out researched information. Like he's actually a good, honest human being.
Mark asks, I don't know if this one has been asked before, but what is the funniest game that you guys have played?
I don't know.
In terms of funny writing,
I mean, you phrase in terms of however you want to. I think.
I don't know. I like the Ace Attorney games have always had like a really good wit about them. I think in terms of the overall writing, I think I have laughed at myself fumbling around more times playing Monster Hunter than anything else, but I would not qualify Monster Hunter as a funny game. It's mostly like I run into walls and laugh at myself because I'm an idiot.
I think the ratcheting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Micah.
No. I was just saying I don't know, because most games they're either unintentionally funny or corny funny, right? Like, or characters that I find amusing, but like they're not necessarily intended to be. But for some reason, Dante from Devil May Cry I find hilarious because he's like. Specifically from Devil May Cry 3, because he's a giant dork, but he's like trying to be cool, right? But he's like a super dork. And then there are games that are written to be funny, like South Park or Conquer or shit like that. But it's just like, hey, look at these cute characters cursing. Hey, here's a giant mountain of poo singing a song. Or, it's not the humor doesn't hit me as like I've never guffawed at a video game.
Yeah, I find most of my game humor in games that have funny writing in them. Ratchet and Clank games are always really good for humorous moments that are genuine and not, put upon and are not like set up to be humorous. It kind of flows naturally. Earthbound and really all the other games have a lot of absurd humor in it and also a lot of sly humor as well. So it's a nice hybrid of those two things. So those are probably the two that come to mind immediately for me in terms of funny games. He also asked if we can make a top 10 list at the end of the year for games Micah has bought but hasn't played. No, we can make a top 10 list for games that Micah has bought but played less than like 4 hours of, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because he plays everything for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll play it just to try it, right? But if I stick with it. I bought a game called The Takeover on Switch because it was $5, and I was like, let me get this beat 'em up, right? And I don't know why. I played it for like 5 minutes, and I'm never gonna touch it again. I deleted it from my system. So yeah, we can make that.
I do more on Switch of those than I do on any other platform for sure. Like, especially when they put like a deep discount on them, you like, take a flyer on stuff. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's $2.99. Whatever. I'll try.
Film Wander asks, what is a game that you find relaxing if you don't want something too heavy on action?
Something like a Lumines or a Tetris Effect or some sort of puzzle game, or like an open world game where I can just kind of fuck around, like Spider-Man. I can just kind of fuck around and swing around and be content.
I don't tend to play games that are really high stress to begin with. I think the most stressed out I get playing video games these days is if I decide to do anything in Final Fantasy 14 as a healer. Healing is so stressful. I can't do it. I'm always on the edge when I'm doing that. So like low action. Stardew is usually my go-to. I also, God, fucking Katamari Damacy, like the Katamari series at large is just, you roll around a ball and you listen to some fun music. That's a nice relaxing experience.
Yeah, you're cleaning up the environment, just rolling around all your junk.
Yeah,
just making it a big star.
My deck builders are probably the most relaxing game that I play, just because, like I said, they're very low intensity. They activate like the thinking part, because a lot of the deck building games, especially the roguelike ones, have like they show you the enemy intents, so it becomes more like a giant puzzle in a lot of ways. So those like some like Slay the Spire, Griftlands, Monster Train, like things of that nature, I would say for me are the ones to check out. Cam says in the upcoming Suicide Squad game, do you think DC actually gave them clearance to kill the Justice League? Or are we in for a bait and switch from the company who notoriously would not allow NetherRealm to muss Superman's hair in the first Injustice game? I'd have to imagine that it's gonna ultimately be like Brainiac's the main villain, and the Justice League ends up like teaming with you at the end of the game to fight back against Brainiac, right?
Yeah, like, you see a couple members of the Justice League and they have like their eyes are all messed up, probably due to Brainiac's influence. Wonder Woman is not one of them. She seems clear-headed, so you will continue until you get to Wonder Woman. You'll have an altercation, you'll come together, you will, and then you'll figure out how to free the other members of the Justice League. And I don't know. So I'm going to assume that because Rocksteady is making it, it is a follow up. It is in the same universe that the Arkham universe is in, and at the end of Arkham Knight, Batman is killed. He's in Wayne Manor. Spoiler alert: he's in Wayne Manor, and Wayne Manor blows
game's
up.
6 years old.
He's in Wayne Manor. Wayne Manor blows up because everyone knows who Batman is. So I'm assuming that they're operating in that world, which is why you don't see Batman anywhere in the trailer, or do you? And so technically they don't have a problem killing off a character, but no, I don't think you'll kill any of those characters, because you're introducing those characters for future games, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. Finally, we come back to Leonardo, come full circle, who got his question in time this week for the show, who says, for Mike and Brad, what is your favorite 007 gadget?
Oh man, Leonardo, who's your favorite parent, man? There's so many. I love most of the cars. Obviously, the DB5 is amazing.
See, for me, this is an easy question to answer. I know mine off the top of my head.
I love the Lotus. I love the laser watch from GoldenEye, just because it's a fucking laser on a watch. Like, who the fuck doesn't want that, dude? There's a ton, man. There's a ton.
I like how Leonardo explains this or asks this as if I don't watch James Bond films.
Well, what is your favorite 007 gadget?
I like the cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Which one? What? Any specific one?
No, I like the cars. That's what I'll go with.
My favorite is arguably the most practical 007 gadget in the entire series. Second most practical. I think the underwater rebreather is actually the most practical, but the second most practical is the attaché case from Russia with Love.
You know what? You're right.
It is. Like I said, it's a briefcase, can hold your papers and shit. It's got a knife hidden in it. It's got 2 strips of gold sovereigns in there. You can booby trap it with a tear gas canister in case anyone tries to get in there. It's got spare bullets in the stoppers at the like it's a fucking fantastic piece of kit that James Bond got.
if you've ever wondered what it would be like to have an inventory in real life, like a video game style inventory, that's it.
That's it. That case also resulted in some of like the coolest vintage Bond toys back in the day too.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. My favorite absurd gadget is one of the most reverse engineered gadgets, which is the Rolex Submariner that had the buzzsaw bezel so that Bond could cut through ropes that happened to be in his wrists from Live and Let Die. So that's my favorite of the absurd James Bond gadgets. And then Carrie, he also asked if you could take a monster from Monster Hunter and bring it into the Pokemon universe. What would it be?
I would want to see two in particular. One, I think Zinogre would be cool on his own because it's a fucking lightning dog. He's also one of my favorite. These two are my two favorite monsters anyway. So Zinogre, who I now have a tattoo of because I'm a psychopath. Zinogre, I think would translate really well to the Pokemon universe. I think he has a design that could be adapted really well in that style, and he already has a move set that would work well for the existing Pokemon moves. The other that I think would be really funny would be Basil Goose, or as the official Monster Hunter Stories pronunciation, which is Basil Geese, but you're going to take my bagel goose out of my cold dead hands, Capcom. Yeah, I think Basil would be really fun if you could program it, because he's an invading monster. So he sort of swoops into you fighting another monster and ruins your day and probably ends your hunt if you're not prepared for him. So imagine like you're fighting another monster out in the wild, or another Pokemon out in the wild, and like halfway through the fight, like a warning thing comes across the screen and Basil swoops in, and now you have to fight Basil, and he's like a way higher level than you can handle at that time. That's what I would want to see. I think that would be cool. But from a more realistic perspective, I think Zinogre would be the better choice.
Very good. Well, that's it for the post office. Thank you guys very much for the questions that you submitted. Carrie is doing Extra Life this year. It's taking place over several days now.
Yeah, so basically, I am busy all the time, and I don't really have like a single weekend where I can dedicate for like one lengthy long stream for Extra Life this year. So instead, I'm just going to be dropping in and out throughout the month, doing streams of stuff that whatever I feel like playing that day, basically. Still doing the campaign, still trying to hit that $500. Thank you to those who have donated so far. If you haven't donated already, please consider doing so. I'm doing the thing this year where for every $10 you donate, that will basically count as a ticket towards a raffle that I will do at the end of the month. And I've got some cool stuff in there. I've got some like eShop codes for Nintendo that I'll give away. I have some like soundtrack stuff I'll be doing. I have the Final Fantasy VII piano collections on vinyl. That will be sort of your grand prize. I have the soundtrack to God Hand on cassette. I'll be giving that away.
What?
Yeah. So yeah, got some eclectic stuff in there. So all the money goes to help the kids at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center. But yeah, I decided I didn't just want to do one long New Vegas stream. Instead, I'm gonna do a little bit of New Vegas, and then a little bit of Monster Hunter, and then probably some Paradise Killer, and then probably some Pokemon and some other stuff. So
cool.
So I don't have a set schedule because I'm an adult who's busy all the time.
It becomes tough when you become an adult, for sure. It's not tough. Going to denspixels.com/fans, joining the Discord. Yep. Make sure you submit those post office questions every single week. Love answering those. Probably my favorite part of the show, honestly. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/denspixels. Smash the subscribe button because that's the only thing you can do with that button. Smash it. And then follow us on Twitch. Carrie stuff. It's Carrie. Terrence is Apparition 410. I'm Dense Pixels Brad. That does it for 400 episodes. Technically more. We don't number the E3 stuff. So we've actually
That's
done
true. Yeah, we've
actually done way more than 400. But 400 official episodes. I've had an amazing time. It's been fantastic. Looking forward to doing many more of these with you folks on the pod here with me, and with you folks listening on your audio devices and your YouTubes at home. Thank you very much, as always, for watching and listening. We will see you all the next time.
Thanks.
See you.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.